So, first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me to speak about the Moroccan model concerning how we succeed in launching the huge reform concerning the media developments in the digital era. This presentation is based on how we deal with the main challenges related to the media developments: the political and institutional challenge, the legal challenge, the digital infrastructure challenge, the ethical challenge, and the economic challenge. We think that there is 5 main challenges who are governing the media development in the digital era. The impact of new technologies was so huge. The emergence of these new technologies has represented a catalyst for new way of communication, new forms of political, social, cultural relationships and interactions. And this has huge impact on the stability of the countries in a context that we noticed an increased threat related to extremism and terrorism. So, since 2011 until now, huge developments happen in the Arab world, but mainly in Morocco. Morocco has some specificities in terms of language, in terms of identity. The Arabic components, but also the Amazigh components, the first. The African dimension. All this represents the components of the Moroccan identity based on the central role of Islam. So, what has, or how we can describe the crisis of the communication in the Arab world? To describe it, but also to explain it. I think 3 factors explain the problem of communication in the region. The first is related to the digital gap, the digital divide. The second related to the democratic deficit that limits the possibilities of the use of new communication in technologies, in defending ideas, in questioning and oversighting the work of the governments. And the third problem is related to the resignation of the elites, which leads to a crisis of leadership and deepens the crisis of communication and the failure of the goal of reconciliation between citizens and politics. So, what we did in Morocco? We succeed in launching a comprehensive, global reforms based on the historical speech of His Majesty the King Mohammed VI in March 9, 2011. Based on this speech, Morocco started a second generation of reforms based on genuine political and institutional reforms that will foster political accountability, encourage political participation, establish the independence of the judiciary system, and finally boost the access to information. After the 2011 Constitution, who represented the roadmap for this political and institutional reforms. Based on this new constitution, we launched these reforms related to the media developments. And based also on the constitution, we succeed in addressing the 4 challenges: the legal challenge, the economic challenge, the ethical challenge, and the digital infrastructure challenge. So media development means that we need a policy that will help us in addressing these 4 challenges based on how we succeed in addressing the political and institutional challenge. So, at the beginning, the new constitution in 2011 helped us in launching this political and institutional reforms. Accountability, political participation, the independence of the judiciary system, and the access to information. And based on this, we launched this media reforms on the legal and the ethical and the economic framework that has as a goal widening the freedom of expression and preserving an open and responsible digital public sphere, especially after the spread of satellite networks, mainly in the Arab region and in North Africa, in the Maghreb, Hotbird, Nilesat, Arabsat, Eutelsat, that reduced the ability of the government to control the access to information. Now, in the digital era, everybody has this possibility. And as an implication to this goal, we worked in launching a comprehensive legal framework concerning the media sector. So, what's the results of this legal challenge reforms? Last December, the government adopted the new press code. This new press code is based on removing jail sentences for journalistic crimes, without the possibility to jail journalists if they fail to pay a fine. Last February, the Parliament adopted a new project concerning the establishing a National Press Council as an elected council to govern and to supervise the respect of ethics in the media sector. And also we launched an amendment to the law concerning the High Authority of Audiovisual and the second reform concerning the broadcasting law in order to boost the respect of ethics, secure the transition to the digital television, and concerning, for example, the discrimination against women, who provide mechanisms that will prohibit any discrimination against women, respect political and cultural diversity, and strengthen the independence of the public media. Also, part of this legal reform, we succeed in guaranteeing the legal protection of the sources of journalists in the law, to provide strong legal protection of journalists against attacks, and we decriminalize defamation. And this is an important step toward strengthening the freedom of expression in Morocco. And also, we emphasize and we strengthen the role of the judicial system in the protection of the right to publish and to edit in the online media. So, what's the results of this legal reform? For example, the legal recognition of the news websites. 215 news websites has been recognized during the last 2 years. We established a new transparent system for concerning the state's aid to the media based on preserving diversity and pluralism. Also, we launched projects concerning the training to journalists. And Morocco now is out of the list that has been published by the Reporters Without Borders concerning the enemies of the internet. So Morocco is out of this list. There were no instances of blocking and no demand to Facebook or Twitter or Google concerning the user of these social networks. Other indicators related to the freedom of expression in Morocco. No national media outlet was censored And the most important thing, a decrease of the number of journalists who has been attacked by 50%. The Union of Journalists last year presented to us only 6 cases of attacks against the journalists. And we established a system to fight against this. Also, the number of the cases of journalists in justice, huge decrease last year, only 24 sentences, and within this 24 sentences, 14 no charges. The last 10, 7 only fines. And we think that, in my view, that we shouldn't have any journalists in the prison. And last year, no journalist has been jailed. Also, we succeed in increasing the presence of the opposition party in the public media. In 2011, it was only 34%. Now it's 43%. And we tripled the number of the political debates in the public television by 3 times. And finally, Morocco progressed in the report from Davos Network Readiness reports from the 99 rank in 2014 to 78th position in 2015, and this is a real progress. Concerning the ethical framework or the ethical challenge, media development, we should work to develop the legal framework, but also to develop the ethical framework. What we mean by ethical framework? We mean the respect of the private life, cultural diversity, protection of minors, women equality, to fight against racial discrimination and against violence. This is the 6 components of the ethical challenge. Now we amend. Last July, the Parliament adopted a new amendment concerning the broadcasting law that emphasizes these questions. And now we are debating in the Parliament a second reforms concerning the press media and digital media, concerning all these challenges, and hope to succeed in doing this by coming month. The third challenge is the economic challenge, the economic framework. How we are going to secure that a newspaper will be an independence. The independency of the newspaper, it is related to the sector of advertisement. So what we launch in Morocco is reform to the sector, also is going to be debated and inshallah to be adopted in the Parliament by coming month. But at the same time, we worked in reforming the system of state aid and increasing the amount by 50%. And also to ask the sector of advertisement to be more transparent. The amount now, it's about $500 million in Morocco of the advertisements. But we need transparency, and this is a part of this challenge. The final challenge is about the challenge of internet infrastructure. This is representing one of the success stories in Africa and in the Arab world. Morocco succeeded in investing. What's the result? For example, the recent report concerning competitiveness from Davos, Morocco ranked 60 among 140 countries in securing the access to internet. In terms of the availability of the latest technologies, we ranked 51. The number of the internet subscribers in Morocco increased from less than 10 million to more than 14 million in 1 year. And the internet penetration in Morocco now, it's about 60%. And this is huge success. There is no future for the media, for digital media, without internet infrastructure. So, how we can describe the internet landscape in Morocco? Now, almost 11 millions of the users of the Facebook. This is an important thing. 92% of Moroccans' mobile subscribers are using 3 or 4G. Increase of satellites audience and penetration from 34% in 2004 to 85% in 2015. We succeed in having the transition to the digital television in last June, by June 17, 2014. And we succeed in securing the penetration of broadcasting to up 84% of Moroccan territories. And all this has been governed by the reforms of the audiovisual and broadcasting law. Thank you so much.